Andrew Montford's here, Director of Net Zero Watch. Andrew, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
So, I mean, what an interesting day for those of us who believe that the electricity supply of this country is not very well protected, because it turns out that Heathrow's backup generators don't work. And my suspicion is, because somebody very kindly sent me a plan for what they said in 2022 about making their backup generators more renewable, I'm wondering if that's going to end up being part of the problem here.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, the thing is, if you're trying to run your electrical systems off solar panels and batteries, the chances are the batteries are only going to last for a couple of hours, and so it's not going to help you very much with a disaster like this. On the other hand, I would say your backup systems are probably, your generators are only going to be there to support absolutely critical systems. So, stuff like the air traffic control you would need a diesel generator, because if your electrical system goes out, then you still need to be able to land planes or tell them to turn around and go to Lyon. I don't think backup systems would actually have kept Heathrow running. I think they would still have had to close it down, but the backup systems are there to prevent an absolute disaster, a crash or something. So I think it all remains to be seen as to whether just how far renewables are playing a part in this. My guess is actually probably not very much at all, but it's kind of symptomatic, isn't it, of the UK at the moment, that the infrastructure is falling apart, and that is there you can blame renewables and net zero, because we don't.
Concern.
Say again?
I said that is a concern, because
absolutely.
We're just looking at some pictures of the smouldering aftermath of the fire, which they now say is under control. But I mean, again, even just on the basis of security and national security, it seems to me a bit odd that the main generator or the main electricity source for Heathrow Airport is not contained within the perimeter of Heathrow Airport.
Yeah, and that there is not a secondary generator, a secondary substation, I should say, on the other side of the airport or something, so that they can route electricity in a different way.
Right.
That seems to me a bit of an oversight, because Heathrow is so critical.
Right.
I find it very strange that they don't have completely fail-safe systems here. But
well, this is it. I mean, Ed Miliband was appearing on another station, because he won't come on ours, to say that basically the backup generator failed as a result as well, which suggests, anyway, to me, I don't know if, again, I'm jumping to conclusions here, but it suggests that it was a bit too near the other one.
Absolutely. I mean, that doesn't sound right at all, does it? You would expect the backup generator to be on a completely different site, and it may be that there are backup generators, within the perimeter of Heathrow to do these kind of things, but there's something doesn't quite stack up there. We'll have to.
No, I mean, I've been sent this from a statement made by Heathrow talking about what they were doing for their net zero goals. Effectively, this was back in 2022 on their buildings and infrastructure, and it says this: standby generators currently operate using diesel, as they need an independent power source to maintain resilient operations. They are used predominantly as backup power for airfield ground lighting, and we are investigating renewable-based alternatives that can still meet the stringent performance criteria for such a safety critical airport asset. I mean, that sounds to me like they're looking at ways of funding a sort of renewable energy driven backup system.
Yeah, that's right. They're talking about the landing lights. Well, if you had a huge battery, then yes, you could probably power your landing lights off that. But for how long? In the circumstances we're looking at now, where the substation could be out for a week or more, who knows? Your batteries aren't going to help you with that. Again, you get into this thing where it's only for the critical few moments. You might then be able to land the airplanes that were sort of in the air at the time, but you would still have to close the airport. I think renewables, it's one of these things. People do it for virtue signaling purposes, and we can get on. We can get on to Mr. Miliband and his school.
Well, he's
program.
taken to hiring models, hasn't he, now, to try and sell us heat pumps. Daisy Lowe has been paid an undisclosed sum of money to do a rather stupid-looking advert for putting heat pumps in your house.
Yeah, I mean, at a time when the country is apparently desperately short of money, and we're having to cut things like heating allowances for the poor, to be blowing money on promotions for heat pumps, sending money to a model to promote it. I mean, that's pretty obscene, actually, isn't it? Really?
It's nonsensical, and it's also really lame. He's tried to make some kind of play on a Jane Austen novel, which is so typically sort of Ed Miliband middle class, like this is going to appeal to anybody who's not some kind of university-educated chump.
Yeah, and of course the thing to remember is heat pumps will put your bills up.
Yeah.
So, here we are blowing money to make the country poorer. I mean, this is just so ridiculous. I mean, we've said this before, haven't we, Mike? That Miliband is pretty mad, and this is just another symptom of it.
Absolutely right, Andrew. Listen, we've got to run because there's so much going on this morning. Thank you so much for talking to us, Andrew Montford, director of Net Zero Watch.